Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapeeth for the students of Standard 10, in which we are learning the subject of social science. This is the sixth lecture for chapter number 15, that is economic development. Let us have a quick recap of what we have learned in the previous lectures regarding this chapter. Economic development means, along with the development of finances of the country, there should be a social change also, as more and more money gets into the hands of the people because the income of the country rises. So national income increases, that is how per capita income also increases. Along with that, if there is no social change in the society, if the standard of living of the people does not change, then it is not called an economic development. It is just economic growth that is seen. Indicators of economic development are the same, that is, national income of the country increases, per capita income, that is PCI, increases, and along with that, standard of the living of the people also changes. That these are the three indicators through which we measure whether economic development is taking place or not. All the indicators show that India is progressing, and along with that, lots of social change is also happening, which tells us that economic development is happening in India. Then we learnt about economic growth and economic development. Growth is, for example, number of factories are increasing, number of sources where income can be increased, that is growing, then that is economic growth. Economic development, when infrastructural facilities, the basic facilities, that is food, clothing, shelter, health, education, these sectors are increasing, we see economic development. Objective of a country should always be economic development, because then only the standard of living of the people will increase. Then we saw the 9 features of a developing economy, where per capita income is low, standard of living of the people is quite low, majority of the people are working in the agricultural field, unemployment is there, poverty is there. There is lots of difference between the value of import and the value of export. So these were the features of the developing economy that we learnt. Then we learnt about the economic and non-economic activities, whichever activities we do, so that we can generate some money out of it, then that is called economic activity. Mother takes care of the child, that is a non-economic activity, where the purpose of the activity is not earning money. Social work, etc., they are non-economic activities. Then we learnt about the structure of Indian economy, that is Indian economy. There are 3 sectors: primary sector, secondary sector, and service sector, where agriculture and related activities, mining activities, all these are called the primary sector. Manufacturing of anything, that means raw material undergoing any process in order to become a finished product, that comes in the secondary sector. Service sector, for example, telecommunication, healthcare, all of that, schools, education, all of that fall in the service sector. Then we learnt about the factors of production, that is land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Then we saw about the distribution of production, that is not equal. Then we learnt about the problems created by the distribution of factors of production. We also learned that factors of production, or the resources, they can have alternate usage, but we can do only one use of a particular resource. For example, if we have land, then we can either build a building over there, use it as a school, hospital, or we can do some agriculture over there, but we have a choice, only one choice can be fulfilled in that. Then we learnt about allocation of resources, mainly allocation of resources. Only two methods are there. One is market system, another is social system. We learned the market system, complete market system in detail. Then we started with the socialist system. Now we had a brief discussion about the socialist system. Socialist system is that type of economic system that is controlled and regulated by the government so as to ensure welfare and equal opportunity to the people in a society. That is called socialist system. Basic underlying fact of socialist system is that everything is under the control of the government. Everything is owned by the government, whether it is a farm, whether it is the farm products, whether it is the industry, whether it is the factories producing goods. Everything is owned by the government. The main purpose of the socialist system is that it should be aimed at the welfare of the people, and everybody in the country should be getting equal opportunities. So that is how a socialist system is made. We learned about the history of the socialist system and what are the factors controlling it. Socialist system is quite opposite to the market system that we saw, because market system aims at making more and more profit, whereas socialist system aims at making more and more welfare or facilities available to the people. So they are quite opposite to each other. In market system, money is the center, whereas in socialist system, social welfare is at the center. In the socialist system, all economic decisions are taken by the state machinery, whereas we saw in market system that all the decisions are taken by individuals. The government has quite a negligible role in decision making. State owns all the resources of production, whereas in market system, the complete ownership of resources, that is money, capital, labor, entrepreneurship, everything is in the hands of the people. In this system, whole economy is managed by the state. The complete economic system is maintained by the state. That means the country or the country's government, right? So everything is owned by the country and everything is run by the country. Very few industries are handled by individuals. Apart from that, mostly everything belongs to the government and everything is run by the government. So it is also managed by the government. Now this paragraph is quite important. Students, please listen carefully. All the decisions pertaining to production, investment, resources distribution, resource distribution, production distribution, all the decisions are taken after keeping the requirement of the society in mind. This can be understood with a very simple example of bread. Now suppose the area as large as Gujarat. Now if we are talking about Russia, then the area, the size of Gujarat in any part of Russia is taken, for example, then the population is known by the government multiplied by the daily requirement of bread. The population multiplied by the daily requirement of bread quantity. So government knows that per day this much bread is required by the people of the area of Gujarat, right? Now that quantity of bread multiplied by 365. So they come to know that this is the annual requirement only for bread for this population of the size of Gujarat in Russia. So this much production should be minimum target that should be had from that area. Excess hoga to can be distributed to areas where wheat cannot be grown, right? But minimum this much should be grown for wheat for the purpose of bread. So, decision pertaining to production. From that area, how much wheat can be grown? If sufficient quantity of wheat is grown, then okay. Then apart from that, what else can we grow? All the decision regarding growing of any agro product in the farm, the decision is taken by the government. After taking the wheat, it has to be turned into flour. So, flour mills, they are set up by the government. So, kitni requirement of flour mills, that is also decided by the government. This should be the per day output of the flour mill so that the flour available can be used in the bakery. Now, the bakery is also owned by the government, right? So, per day, that much quantity of wheat flour is supplied to the bakery. The people in the bakery, they work and produce bread. Now that bread comes into the market. Now how will you buy it? People working every day, they get their wages and from that wages they buy the food. तो जितना पैसा इन्वेस्ट किया उतना ही पैसा वापस गवर्नमेंट को मिल गया. There is no profit, right? There is no profit, but everybody gets equal amount of bread. So all the decisions pertaining to production investment, resource distribution, production distribution, etc. are taken keeping the requirement of the society in mind. यहाँ पे wheat का बहुत ज़्यादा production हो गया, then it will be helpful in some other area which are very cold, having suffering from harsh winter where wheat cannot be grown. Then the extra bread that is made or extra wheat that is made can be supplied over there. So people over there also can have bread. So mainly the government takes the decision everywhere so that everybody get equal share in the production, manufacturing, distribution. Each and every place government takes the decision. In the socialist system, rather than profit, social welfare is at the center. I am not growing wheat, but I have the requirement of wheat. That is wheat flour turned into bread. I have requirement of bread, but I am serving somewhere else. But I should get my daily bread. So this is how the government machinery works everywhere. Everything is owned by the government, including the farms, the factories. Everything is owned by the government and target is given to them that you have to produce this much. Production of resources and their prices are decided by the state, that means the government. Now, production, resources, everything is controlled by the government. Then the output, that is the finished product, the price is also decided by the government so that everybody can afford it and it is available for everybody. So including the prices, everything is decided by the government. The responsibility to achieve the target of production decided by the state government, factories. This also we discussed, that each and every factory, because we just talked about wheat flour, we just talked about the bakery producing bread, but then there are lots of other things that are to be produced and these are the daily necessities of the people. So each and every factory is given a target. To accomplish that target, the raw materials are supplied to them by the government. For example, it can be an edible oil manufacturing plant. Then oil seeds are given to them by the government that this is your raw material. Every day you have to produce this many liters of edible oil so that it can be distributed. Now, because farmers are working in the farm, they produce the oil seeds, they give it that is taken away by the government and the farmers are paid daily wages. That oil seed is taken to the unit or plant where they extract oil from those oil seeds. There also people are working, everyday wages are paid to them. The oil that is made by them is then distributed all over the country. In ration shops, people pay for that and buy it. So whatever investment is incurred by the government is again returned to them without taking much profit out of it. Because the main aim is equal welfare to everybody and equality for everybody, so everybody gets it in equal share. This also we have discussed. Farming is also owned by the state. Laborers are paid according to their ability and according to work that is taken from them. Whether they are working in a farm, whether they are working in a forest cutting the wood, whether they are working in a factory as an employee, work is taken from them according to the capacity, according to their ability. So farming, including farming, everything is owned by the state. For example, one family staying in a village, then they are given a particular piece of land and they are told to work over there. They work over there and they get their wages. The food that they produce do not belong to them. It belongs to the government. So they take the harvest and the government takes it and distributes equally all over the state. If time comes, if there is a shortage of labor somewhere in the farm area, say 200 kilometers away, 500 kilometers away, then that family is ordered to pack up all their things and go to that farm that is 500 kilometers away. A house will be given to them to live. Children will be given education in the local school, and they again have to go and work in the farm that is given to them. So in that way, nothing belongs to the people, everything belongs to the government. Socialist system originated because of limitations and failures of market system. Earlier, they were troubled by Tsars, the rulers of Russia, for say 300 years. After that, they got independence from the Tsars and the socialist system came into force. This socialist system came into force because they got fed up of the market system. Because market system, they look at profit only. That means the rich people who have lots of power, who have lots of money, they will be able to wield more and more power and more money. So the rich becomes richer and the poor, they become more poorer. The poor becomes more poor. So to eliminate the differences between the rich and poor and everybody gets equal share in whatever is produced in the country, the socialist system came into force, where welfare is kept at the center rather than profit. So socialist system, it emerged out of the failures of the market system. Countries like Russia and China have achieved fast economic progress by adopting this system. Russia and China, these are the two leading countries who accepted communism, who accepted socialism, and they got rapid economic progress with the help of adopting this system because they were able to eliminate the disparity between the rich and the poor, and everybody got equal amount of welfare. So they were able to make quite fast economic progress. Now let us look at the benefits of social system. Production is done according to the requirement of the society, so unimportant and luxurious items are not produced. We take the simple example of the luggage bag that we carry when we go travel out of town. जो सूटकेस हम लेके जाते जिसमें फैमिली के कपड़े भर के हम जाते हैं, right? If we take the simple example of a suitcase. Now, what is the basic requirement of that suitcase? A suitcase is required when you are doing some traveling. There is no need of any luxury or very good stuff for that suitcase. So a very simple suitcase is made, and the same type of suitcase is seen in everybody's hand when you're standing on a platform, a railway platform in Russia. Even so, that when they travel by air and go to other countries, say US, England, a person who deboards the plane and arrives on the airport he is clearly marked as a Russian if he is carrying that particular suitcase. That means everybody in the country is carrying the same type of suitcase, which is manufactured by companies established by the state, and they are given orders to manufacture particular shape and style of the suitcase. So, if we visit the market, Indian market, in any Indian town or city, we will find a suitcase ranging from 1,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees, whereas everybody will be having the same type of suitcase in such socialist countries, because the shape and size, color, material, everything is decided once, and such a type of factory is established, and then it keeps on manufacturing. Right? So, because luxurious items, they are unimportant where welfare is concerned, because the poor people will not be able to afford that. So everything is available in the market which can be afforded by each and everyone in the country. So mostly production is done keeping the requirement of the society in consideration, and unimportant and luxurious items, they are not produced at all, or they are produced in very little quantity as per requirement. As the decisions related to the production are taken by the state, so wastage of resources is not there. We need this much bread, and this is the wheat flour. So only that much wheat is supplied to them, or that much wheat flour is supplied to them, that they will be able to make that many bread. So wastage of resources is not there. As we see in our shops over here in India, the bread keeps lying over there because customers didn't buy them, and 15 bread, 20 bread, or 50 packets of bread will be lying, and they will have to be thrown away. This is wastage of resources, because we do not know who is going to come and buy bread from us. But there it's already decided that bread will be available today, and all the families, they go over there, they take their bread. So there is no wastage of production, there is no wastage or spare items lying in the shops. Next, very important, disparity of income and property is removed totally, because nothing belongs to anybody. The farm doesn't belong to you, the house you live in does not belong to you, everything belongs to the government. If you are living in the city, then the flat that is given to you by your company, wherever you are working, that is also given to you by the government. So disparity of income, nobody is rich, nobody is poor. Everybody earns money which is sufficient to survive. So disparity of income is relieved. Next is property also undisputed, because nothing belongs to you. 3-4 बंगले है, 8-10 गाड़ी है, and that question does not arise because nobody has that, because you don't own any property, right? So disparity of income and property is totally removed. Customers are not exploited because government has thoughtfully planned out everything, and manufacturing of the goods is also taken care of the government. The factories are established by the government, raw materials procured by the government and given to those factories, and the finished products are also taken away by the government and distributed to the people. Pricing, main important point is pricing is also done by the government. If you take the example of soap, then 2 or 3 varieties will be available, and the price will be such that everybody can afford it. So if you do want variety is available in a little bit less number, but then we do have a choice a little bit, but then those choices are also limited, and the price is such that customer can never be exploited because the government has decided the price. So customers are not exploited in socialist system. Now when we have learned the advantages of socialist system, then we should also have a look at the limitations of the socialist system. Socialist system which has come into existence with the noble intention of equal distribution and social welfare too has certain limitations. The main points are social welfare, it's quite a noble idea, a very good idea. Equal distribution to all, that is also quite a noble and a very good idea. So let us see what the limitations are. As the resources of the production are owned by the state, people do not get encouragement and motivation to increase production. Nothing belongs to them. So apart from growing potato, if the farmer wants to grow peas or wheat, he is not having any liberty to grow it. Same way, a person might be having lots of ideas that we can establish a factory or such production can be done, but then he doesn't have the liberty to open up a factory, establish a factory. First thing is he doesn't have that much money to open up his own factory, and that will be disallowed by the government. So he is at all not encouraged to do anything new. What happens in a market system is people come up with innovative ideas, and they do some innovation, they do some invention, they bring some change. That thing is totally absent in a socialist machinery. This is very, very important that people do not get encouragement and motivation to increase production. Everything is set up by the government. In the morning, he has to get up and go to the factory where he works. The same old machinery, he cannot do any changes there because the factory is designed by the government. The machines that are designed by the government, they are made somewhere else and they are brought to this factory, established in this factory, and it's working, and you have to go and work in that factory from morning to night, and then you come back to home. You do not have any encouragement, you do not have any motivation to increase the production, even when you know that this machine can be modified a little so that it increases the speed, it increases the speed of production. No, you are not at liberty to do anything. Now comes one of the most important drawback of socialist system. Competition is totally absent. There is lack of competition. There is no competition. You get that same soap everywhere, wherever you go. Then, because the same machinery is producing that soap, and so you get the same soap everywhere. So, it shows that competition is absolutely not there, because people are not encouraged to have some new sort of production or to have some new brand of soap. That is totally absent. Contest and research do not get momentum in the economy. First thing is, to do research you need lots of money, which you don't have. Contest, that is competition, is not there. So research is not there. Research is carried out, but it is carried out by the government machinery, not by individual, because you do not have those facilities. So all these things are discouraged in the socialist economy. There is a lack of individual freedom in this system. Just like you, there are students in socialist country also, right? But then that education system is in the hands of the government. It is not in the hands of any individual. That means there are no private schools. There are all public schools handled by the government. The government takes care, due care, for the education that is given in the country. But then it also decides what is your capacity. Whether your capacity is to become an engineer, a scientist, or you are very good at sports, or you are very good at nothing. You become a farmer, you become a laborer. All that is decided by the government. So there is a complete lack of individual freedom in the system. Because of complete interference of the state, there is a fear of bureaucracy. Now, who decides whether you should become a farmer or whether you should become an engineer? That is decided by one of the chain in the bureaucracy. That means the administrative part, right? Somebody decides who is already in the government, working for the government, is at the top seat of the government, right? He decides whether you will become a farmer or a scientist. So, bureaucracy is feared in those countries following socialist system, Because bureaucracy, the chain of the administrative officers of the officials, they decide everything. So officials, they are supreme. So there is a fear of bureaucracy because everything is handled by the government. And government में काम करते हैं जो लोग वो powerful होते हैं. Right? These are the officers, these are the officials who are working for the government. They take the orders from the government. So automatically they have this very important power of the seat which is required to take decisions. So bureaucracy is feared a lot in such type of countries. Very, very important topic regarding the socialist system. Motivation and punishments, they balance the system. इस कंट्री में, इंडिया में, अगर आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो तो आपको बोलने वाला कोई नहीं है. But this cannot happen in these socialist countries because you are marked. Each and everybody is marked and each and everybody is given work. And you get paid according to the work that you do, according to the capacity of the work that you do, according to your intellectuality, according to your intelligence, you get a work. So, laborers are encouraged to do more work by increasing their salary, giving them bonus, financial rewards, awards. All these incentives, they work as motivation for the laborers. For the laborers, all these things, that means they will increase the salary a little bit. They'll give some more bonus, that is extra payment. They will give some financial reward for doing excellent work. They will get awards which will make them respectable in the society. So all these incentives, they work as motivation for the laborers. At the same time, on the opposite side, if the laborers do not work properly, then he is even punished. If you are not working properly, if the laborer is not working properly, then he is severely punished. Punishments like removing from job. If you are removed from the job, your income stops. You are already labeled, right? Transferring the laborer to far off places are given. You are separated from your family, or whole of the family say shifted to quite far off place, or the person is transferred mainly most of the time Siberia, etc. Criminal activities also involved. So what happens is, for the fear that they will be removed from the job, or from the fear that they will be sent off to far off places, people continue working. So punishments and incentives, they work to balance the work that is done in the society. So fear factor works very much over here. So simple people, they will continue working because they fear that they will be separated from their families and sent away somewhere else to God-forsaken places. Again, they have to go and work over there. Rather than that, here conditions are quite good enough. Let me work over here. Let me not get any punishment. So people will be in a state of fear and they will continue working with their mouths shut. So motivation and punishments are two balancing wheels of the socialist system. Another very important point that we come to, there is no scope of economic freedom, that we have already seen. In the socialist system, all economic decisions are taken by the state machinery. No individual is allowed to do anything on his own. State owns all the resources of production, so there is no chance that an individual can set up a factory, can have his own farm and do farming or production in the factory. The government, they govern the factories, sets the production target, and also sets the prices of the goods and services produced. So in fact, government is taking all the decisions by keeping the social welfare in mind. So individual freedom is not there. If individual freedom is not there, then people having courage to do something new, those people will not come to the front, and the same laborious work will be going on in the country. So, producers, they can neither produce nor distribute goods or services on their free will, because they are given targets, they are given raw material, they just have to process, give out the output as finished products, and that finished product is priced by the government and taken away by the government. So the producers, they don't have any freedom. So there is no scope of economic freedom in a socialist system. So till far we have seen market system and socialist system, and we have seen in both that there are some advantages also, there are some disadvantages also. So we can now come to the mixed system, where we take the good parts from both the system, that is market system and socialist system. We will keep profit also at center, at the same time we will also do welfare, that is mixed system. The economic system in which both governments and private individuals exercise economic control is called mixed economy, that is the definition, where government is also there and the people's freedom is also there. Then that type of control is called economic mixed economy. Government control भी होगा और private individuals, they will also have economic control over the market, and that type of system is known as mixed system. As we know, mixed economy is the middle way of market system and socialist system. Complete market system or complete socialist system is not good. So we take half of market system, which is very good, and we take the other half of the socialist system, which is very good, and we mix it and we make a mixed economy. Now, mixed economic system attempts at removing the limitations of market system and socialist system and tries to assimilate in it good elements of both systems. So that is what we discussed, that we take the good parts from market system, we take the good parts from socialist system, and we do not accept the disadvantages of either market system or socialist system. We just take the good parts. Mixed economy is such a type of system of economy in which public and private coexist. What we see in market system, complete independence, no government indulgence. On the other side, socialist system, only government control, no individual freedom. So we take half from both. That is, private control will also be there and public control, that is, government control will also be there. How can that be done? Both the sectors do not work as competitor, rather they work as complementary to each other. We take a broader meaning for this in order to understand that private and public means belonging to the state government, either state or country, it's the same thing. Now, private and public sectors, both these sectors, they do not work fighting with each other, rather they work as complementary, they are dependent on each other. For example, electricity is in the hands of the government. Production of electricity, that is in the hands of the government. The pricing is regulated by the government. Now, individuals are owning factories. Factory manufactures something, but for manufacturing that they need electricity. That they take from the government. So they work hand in hand rather than becoming competitors of each other, right? Producing electricity on an individual basis is not allowed by the government. That means you have to take electricity from the government. Whereas whatever you are manufacturing, that is not done by the government, so government does not become your competition. So both these sectors, private and public, they do not work as competitors, rather they are complementary to each other. There is individual or private ownership in agriculture, trade, small consumer goods, industry, etc. Now, individuals are given independence in certain sectors. For example, agriculture. It's your field, you grow whatever you want. Market is available, you go and sell your produce. The government doesn't decide what you will grow in your field. Same way, the government doesn't decide how much soaps you make in a month and how much soap you sell in the market. So government gives quite a lot of independence because agriculture, trade, small consumer goods, industry, all these things are totally owned by the individual and they take their own economic decision. Now, how does government control the market? Government basic key areas like heavy industry, factories producing defense material, railway, electricity, roads, irrigation, construction of dams, all that is owned by the state. मैं इस रिवर पे अपना प्राइवेट डैम बनाऊंगा, गवर्नमेंट विल नॉट अलाउ यू. डैम, it's for public welfare. Whatever water is accumulated over there is distributed to all the people for drinking purpose, for agriculture purpose, for industrial use, for domestic use. Everything is done by the government. There an individual cannot have his or her own ownership. Same way railways in India, for example, the railway is owned by the government. The government takes every decision because all the people, rich, poor, whatever, they travel, they use the same trains. So the pricing is set by the government so that it is affordable to each and everyone. That means these key areas where there are chances of people getting exploited, they are kept under the government, whereas all the other manufacturing, all the other work that leads to economic development, that is in the hands of the individual. So we see that in this system, market is not completely free. Wherever necessary, the government does interfere. Government lays control in different ways. For example, state lays heavy taxes on production of unwanted things. 50 lakh, 60 lakh, 80 lakh ki gadi, then government puts lots of heavy tax on that so that people that get discouraged to buy those luxurious cars and they will try to buy affordable cars. So in this way, the government regulates unwanted and unwanted and luxurious items. Heavy taxes are laid so that people don't buy that, not encouraged to buy that. So in this way, government interferes wherever they think it is necessary for the welfare of the people. On the opposite side, it's the duty of the government to look after the welfare of the people. So to achieve balanced regional development, industries in the backward areas are encouraged by giving subsidy, relaxation in tax, etc. Everybody wants to be establishing factories where raw material are near, highways are very near. So nobody wants to go in the remote areas. So development in those remote areas will not happen if factories are not established over there. Nobody wants to go over there, right? So government gives lots of benefits to these people who will establish factories in the remote area. ज़मीन सस्ती दे दी या इलेक्ट्रिसिटी 3 साल के लिए माफ़ कर दिया. So in this way, the government encourages people to establish factories in the remote area so that development can happen over there also. This mixed economy is such an economic system in which important place is given to economic planning in taking economic decision. All the planning for economic development is done with the help of economic planning, and then that planning is imposed, it's made to work. So wherever economic decisions are taken, they are done according to the economic planning set by the government. Coexistence of private and public sector is accepted in this system. Government regulation is also there, and individuals are free also, but wherever necessary, government will interfere. So this is how private and public sector, they exist together in this system. There is another name for mixed economy or mixed system. The system is also called controlled economic system because restriction and control is there of the government. Which are the countries following this type of system? India, France, England. They follow this type of mixed economy where government can interfere wherever necessary. Key industrial areas are kept under the control of the government, whereas wherever independence is required to be given to individual, their independence is given. Now let us learn the benefits of mixed economic system. Mixed economic system attempts at removing the limitation of the market system and the socialist system and tries to assimilate. That means mix up both of them. Assimilate, collect, and the good elements of both the systems. Public sector, private sector, they work together enjoy decision making, management and ownership of the business units. Mixed economy is free from any major interference of the state. Mostly where individuals are given freedom, then government control is not there. Wherever government control is there, individual freedom is not there. So the line is very clear where you should work, where you should not work. However, due to government's intervention in many various important sectors, the evil of monopoly, high profiteering, adulteration, duplication are controlled. Because government interferes wherever and whenever necessary, so lots of misuse is stopped. You cannot have monopoly. As soon as the government sees that a particular company is having monopoly, it certainly tries to break the monopoly. High profiteering then automatically comes under the check. Adulteration, that means giving spurious products to the people, then they have laws for that also. So everywhere laws are there. So if you do anything wrong, you are caught and punished. Economic planning is always at the center in the process of economic decision in the mixed economy. Please understand, students, profit is at the center in market system. Public welfare is the center in socialist system, whereas in mixed economy, economic planning is at the center and work is done according to that planning. Social welfare increases in mixed economy. For example, if there is a drought in the country, that means very less rain, then farmers will not be able to pay back the loan. तो कई बार देखा है गवर्नमेंट फार्मर्स की लोन माफ़ कर देती है because that duty is of the government to look after the people, to look after the welfare of the people. So the loans are waived for the farmers so that they don't have to pay, or extension is given so that they get enough time to pay back the loans. So this happens in mixed economy. It cannot happen in market economy. It cannot happen simply in a socialist system because the farm does not belong to the farmers. Coordination and restriction, that is the next point in mixed economy. We have already learned this thing. Mixed economy neither gives full freedom to the producers nor keeps full control over them. Mixed up. In a mixed economy, entrepreneur is free to decide what to produce, how to produce, where to distribute, etc. Suppose a factory is manufacturing soap, then he is having complete freedom what to do with his product. There, government does not have any indulgence. But if that soap is harmful to the people, by using the soap, it harms the skin of the people, then government will certainly take action and close down the factory. So, control is there and control is not there also. Due to this freedom, he is motivated to produce goods on his own choice with best features because he is allowed to do that. Thus, he can provide society with better products as per the needs of the society. On the other hand, the government involves itself in the market to see that goods are produced with appropriate quality standards. So rules and regulations are there, quality check is there, so that the customers are not exploited. Government takes steps to control evil of monopoly, public distribution system, that is PDS, and helps people buy unadulterated or food that is harmful or goods that are not good. So government controls these areas to see that the people, they get value of the goods that they are buying, and the life of the people is not in danger. So this is where the government indulges and sees that monopoly is not there. The public distribution system is well maintained. So government also restricts the producers from producing certain types of goods which are harmful for the social welfare. Mixed economy runs with coordination of restriction and motivations. Most countries, they follow mixed system because that is beneficial. There is no country in the world today where absolute market system is there or absolute socialist system is there. Lots of changes are happening everywhere. Both the systems have lost their individual features and assimilated or got collected into the mixed economy. Market systems, they witness indulgence of planning elements, state interference, whereas socialist system witness economic relaxation and economic liberalization. Thus today all the countries of the world, they have more or less adopted the mixed economy. So students, here we complete chapter number 15, that is economic development. As usual, assignment PDF will be supplied with this video. Please remember that on 29th and 30th of July we are having unit test programmed by the government, and social science paper is going to be taken. Paper will be covering 3 chapters, that is chapter number 1, chapter number 8 and chapter number 15. You'll get the details later on, but please start preparing these 3 chapters thoroughly. Thank you, students.